Hello and welcome to the program UFO Warning. In this episode, we're talking about the Lablanc incident. That's correct, the Lablanc incident. Now, if you've been paying much attention to the news lately, you've seen a lot of stuff going on with these missing scientists who've ended up are no longer with us, and people are raising a lot of questions. So, I just heard about this on Twitter actually a couple days ago, about this young man, a nuclear research scientist named Joshua LeBlanc, and the strange case of him apparently riding around in his Tesla for 4 hours on auto drive, and then ending up being found no longer with us at the bottom of a ravine, I guess. I typed this into AI and did a little research, and this is what I came up with. At the center of this case is Joshua LeBlanc, a 29-year-old NASA nuclear aerospace engineer working on advanced propulsion systems, including nuclear thermal propulsion programs tied to future deep space missions. Now, this is something a lot of these seem to have in common. They're working on these propulsion systems, whether it's, things to make craft go faster or anti-gravity or whatever, but they all seem to have this common denominator. It says in July 2025, LeBlanc left home without his phone or wallet. He failed to report to work, which was highly unusual, and was later found dead inside a burned Tesla after a violent crash in Huntsville, Alabama. Now, in case you don't know, Huntsville, Alabama is where we got all the space stuff located at. A huge amount of government research going on there. The key anomalies that stand out even in mainstream reporting: the Tesla made an unexplained stop at an airport before the crash. The body was unrecognizable, requiring forensic confirmation. Well, if you've ever seen one of those electric cars go up in flames, they burn terribly hot. The vehicle left the roadway, struck obstacles, and ignited, but no clear cause. Driver error, mechanical or otherwise, has been firmly established publicly. I mean, wouldn't you think it's been, almost a year now, and they can't figure out how the car crashed? For a typical accident, these elements might be dismissed individually, but in this case, they are not being viewed in isolation. And of course, there is a broader pattern, and that is scientists in sensitive fields that keep ending up dead or missing. Federal authorities, including the FBI, Department of Energy, and other agencies, have opened a multi-case probe into a growing number of deaths and disappearances of scientists since roughly 2022. The emerging data sets include 11 to 14 scientists dead or missing, and fields involved: nuclear propulsion, aerospace engineering, advanced engineering systems, defense-related research, and types of accidents have been car crashes, apparent suicides, disappearances without a trace, and unexplained deaths at home or in the field. From an intelligence analysis perspective, this is what raises flags. The clustering is not just occupational, it is domain-specific: advanced propulsion, energy, aerospace. While mainstream sources stop short of drawing exotic conclusions, several elements overlap with long-standing UFO narratives. LeBlanc and others were working on nuclear propulsion, advanced aerospace systems. These are exactly the domains repeatedly cited in UFO reverse engineering claims, including exotic energy systems, non-conventional propulsion models, and anti-gravity research, as allegedly in some parallel cases like Amelie Eskridge. Now, there's a historical pattern here. The idea of scientists being silenced isn't new. Cold War-era rumors of defense scientist eliminations have been around for a while. Post-2000 claims were tied to black projects, and modern whistleblower narratives around retrieved craft programs all deal with this subject. The current cluster revives that pattern, but with official acknowledgement of investigation, which is new. You have to wonder if that's just not because Trump is in there. Now, UFO-linked individuals have been affected. Some reports connect the broader pattern to individuals interested in anti-gravity or exotic propulsion, figures adjacent to UFO disclosure discussions, and additionally, a would-be UFO whistleblower reportedly died before testimony to Congress. This is where the overlap becomes difficult to ignore for those tracking disclosure narratives. The government response has been quiet but serious. Now, unlike typical fringe cases, this situation has triggered a multi-agency federal investigation. It reached the White House briefing level. It prompted national security concerns, and officials have even acknowledged the possibility, however cautiously, of foreign intelligence targeting scientists. Sensitive technology exposure risk. There are competing explanations. Now, to stay grounded, there are three main explanatory frameworks. One is conventional explanation, just coincidence and occupational risk. There's always the case of mental health factors and high-pressure research roles. And we talked about people sometimes, getting terminal diagnosis with a health issue or something and deciding that they're going to go out on their own terms. Vehicle accidents, they do happen. Tesla crashes are not unheard of. The problem with these explanations, though, is it doesn't easily explain the clustering in the specific advanced research fields. Now, there is a national security explanation, and that's that these folks have been targeted by foreign intelligence agencies, some kind of industrial espionage, escalation, covert competition over next-gen propulsion tech. I mean, it could just be two private companies going at it. There's a strong fit with FBI involvement, DOE interest, and classified program overlap. So, yeah, the FBI is investigating it, but is that to protect themselves or to get to the bottom of what's really going on here? I mean, how do we know at this point? Now, there is also a UFO black program hypothesis, and that's where scientists tied to reverse engineering programs or possibly silencing or containment of knowledge leaks, internal compartmentalization conflicts. And that's why this resonates with UFO researchers, because it matches decades of whistleblower testimony. It aligns with propulsion-related secrecy and explains this cross-agency sensitivity. The problem with this theory, though, is that no direct public evidence linking these specific deaths to extraterrestrial tech. Well, if we really think about this and analyze it, what makes this case different from a typical mysterious death narrative is that official investigation has been confirmed. Victims share highly specialized technical domains, and the number of cases is statistically unusual for such a niche group. The same individuals intersect with topics long associated with UFO secrecy. And even without jumping to extraterrestrial conclusions, the situation strongly suggests something non-random is occurring within a very specific slice of the scientific and defense ecosystem. I mean, clearly something really weird is going on here. Now, that's just kind of an outline of what we've been seeing. I want to go ahead and take a look at a couple of these articles here. I found this first article over at firstpost.com. Firstpost.com, it says, mystery deepens. NASA engineers charred body found in a car. FBI produces broader sinister pattern of scientist's death. And this is dated April 23rd, 2026. The Federal Bureau of Investigation has launched a multi-agency probe into what officials describe as a sinister pattern of deaths and disappearance involving at least a dozen American scientists, reported to Fox News Digital. Many of those affected were leading figures in sensitive fields such as nuclear science, aerospace engineering, and defense research, raising concerns about whether the incidents are connected or part of a broader targeted campaign. The investigation has gained urgency following new details in the case of Joshua LeBlanc, a 29-year-old NASA nuclear engineer. LeBlanc, who worked on the Space Nuclear Propulsion, or SNP project technology considered critical for future Mars missions, was reported missing on July 22, 2025, after he failed to report to work. His body was later discovered in his burnt Tesla vehicle in rural Alabama, charred beyond recognition. And then the story kind of wheels off in here with David Wilcock. So you see, this guy passed away back in July, but it seems like the FBI is just now getting around to investigating this case. And you have to wonder if that just isn't because of the public pressure involved. Here's another article from wionews.com, WION news.com. NASA nuclear engineer, latest in missing or dead scientists adding to troubling trend. Now, this article is dated April 30th, 2026. Everybody's kind of piling on to this. Another NASA scientist died when his Tesla drove around for 4 hours and then crashed. Joshua LeBlanc, who was reportedly working on a nuclear propulsion technology, is the latest of nuclear and space engineers who either went missing or died. It's like a fairly young guy here. It's got a picture of him in front of his Tesla. Another NASA scientist has been added to the list of those dead or missing and involved with sensitive nuclear and space technology. Joshua LeBlanc, a NASA nuclear engineer, died at age 29 last year. His Tesla crashed on July 22nd last year in Huntsville, Alabama. Congressman Eric Burlison of Missouri posted about his death on X and wrote that he was working on a nuclear propulsion technology that would send human to Mars. He has demanded an inquiry into his death, along with the other 11 scientists who have died or disappeared in the past few years. You know, it just shows that you and I can sit here and talk about this all day long, and it doesn't really seem to make much difference. But when a U.S. representative or congressman tweets about it, then all of a sudden it's in all the newspapers, and the FBI decides that they're going to be on the case. Says Joshua went on a sudden trip without his phone or wallet. Now, doesn't this sound familiar? What is it with these guys just taking off out of the house without their phone or wallet? I mean, I try to never leave the house without my wallet, because what if you get pulled over by the cops? You got to have your ID. Joshua had been working as an aerospace technologies electrical engineer at NASA since October 2019. According to Burleson, his Tesla drove 2 hours by itself on Missouri-style back roads before it crashed, killing Joshua. Well, by Missouri, I'm assuming he means very hilly. He wrote in another post that his family reported him missing in the early morning. His Tesla is at the airport for 4 hours, belongings inside. The Tesla then drives 2 hours into nowhere and crashes into a tree. Body unrecognizable, Burleson wrote. His family suspects Joshua was abducted. Talking to the Louisiana news site KLFY, they said that the trip was sudden and he remained out of contact with them, something he never did. His phone and wallet were still inside the house.